And I'm going to be honest, these abandoned houses fascinate me. The stories behind these houses. Who, amigos, hola, buenos dias, or bon dia, as they say here in Portugal. Stuart here, coming to you today from rural Portugal in the center of the country, just off an important mountain range. We can see the scenery that we've got going on here. Very rural indeed. And we're going to go for a walk into a village today, the village that we're staying at here in this part of Portugal. And I'm going to say it looks like time has stood still in this village. Some incredible architecture going on, abandoned houses, some houses that have nice gardens, which is surprising, and basically not a lot of life. So as I said, it seems that time has frozen in this village here. A little bit of life is starting to come back into the village through rural accommodation, for example where we are staying, but only 2 or 3 places like that. The rest of the town is filled with the locals that remain, not many, mostly elderly, and as I said, many abandoned houses. So let's go and take a look at this town, which as I said is fairly interesting, I reckon, to see what these towns are like here in this part of Portugal that are not quite abandoned, but almost. Now, this is where life starts in this town, and we come across the first rural accommodation, probably about 6 or 7 different families staying at this accommodation, fairly big, on the outskirts of the town. We can see over there the mountain range, the Serra de Estela, I think it's called, and we'll get an idea of what the architecture is like in this town. So let's go for a walk down the main strip into the main part of the town. First building we can see, a fairly modern build, I would say. Fairly typical in Portugal. You'll see houses like this all over the place. And as we go down, we'll see some of the older builds with some amazing stonework going on. For example, this one here that we have on the left. Check it out. I don't know whether this is abandoned or not. I don't think so, because there seems to be life. We can see those plastic bottles there outside the front door. Again, I'm not really sure why they put these plastic bottles down, whether it's to deter dogs, don't know. But check out the building work going on here. Look at those balconies, just how old they are. Wow. Let's keep on going. Number 28, this one here. Nice garden. We've got some life coming up here now. A car. We'll just let it go by. There we go. This place here for sale. Not sure what a property like this would go for, but if anyone's interested, come into this part of Portugal, setting themselves up and doing up an abandoned house like this one here, that's the information. And again, I reckon you'd have a fair bit of work on your hands to get this place into tip-top condition, because I don't know how long it has been sitting here empty. Broken windows up there. So whether that's kids that have thrown rocks through the window, no idea. Whether squatters were living in there, again, I've got no idea. I don't think that would be the case, but you never know. Now, these properties here, very rural living, as I said before. Now, I'm not sure if you guys can pick this up in the image here, but there's a lot of smoke activity going on over there. Some serious wildfires in this area over the last 24 to 48 hours. Firefighters working desperately to try and put them out. And I can see there that it is still ablaze, the fire here, unfortunately. So a bit of a shame. Now we've got another new build up here. Fairly big sized place. These are obviously people that work in another part of the country, have enough money to knock down the old buildings and put something else up. We've got another car coming through here now, I think. It's around 8 o'clock in the morning, not a lot of activity. We'll come to the local bar in just a moment. There should be a few people there having a coffee, having a smoke outside, starting their day. But as you can see, this place is very, very quiet. But that's what I like about it, and that's one of the reasons that we come to these towns on our way back to Madrid, to get a bit of quiet, to get a bit of time alone, away from the busy tourist areas where we have been for the last month or so, and to wind down before we get back into the stressful life of Madrid, if that makes sense. Now we're coming into the main hub, but don't expect to see too much activity. Get an idea of some of the buildings that we've got going on here. There's another one for sale. So again, if you wanted to come here, this one looks as though it's been done up in more recent times, especially when it comes to the windows that have been put in and the door work there as well. But the same real estate agent selling the properties here. So I reckon he'd have a monopoly on the town. What else? This building here, again, this would be an abandoned building. And we're going to see a lot of abandoned buildings here. I'm going to tell you that right now. This one's not for sale, so the family holding on to it, I would say. What else we got going on here? Look at the old car. So there could be someone living in there, I don't know. Or whether that car is also abandoned. But check out the architecture here. I reckon if you did this place up, it'd be an attractive looking building. I don't know. And look at this car. Wow. A Datsun. Don't know how old this car would be, but again, haven't seen one of those for years and years and years. Let's continue. Now we've got more property up here for sale. You can see the places where people are living because they've got the flower work going on outside, the plants. But here's another place that's also for sale. Same real estate dude as well. But wow, this is an impressive little town or village as far as the abandonment is concerned. Another one here abandoned. This one here on the corner also looks to be abandoned. All of the shutters down. Not a lot of activity going on. There's a car coming through here now. And the most modern building in the town, this one here, the church. Lots of birds up there, starting their day as well. So wow, so the church has been reformed. So let's continue. Now this is the main hub here. That's the bar over there to the left. It's also rural accommodation. And this place here last night, a lot of these seats here were full. People sitting outside here trying to cool down, trying to deal with the night heat. What do we got here? So that's the name of the town there. Carragozela is the name of the town. There's some type of warning there for parking. And as I said, this is the main hub. We've got some water coming down here. There's a warning sign here that says that the water coming out of these taps is from a source that hasn't been controlled. So I imagine that means drink at your own risk. I'm going to come back to this area at the end of the video when I work my way around. But what do we got here? This is also some type of Mobi Flexi BSE. Not sure exactly what that is. It's some type of flexible transport. So even in small towns like this, they've got some type of flexible transport going on. Let's continue. Now we've got a mix here of buildings that have been done up, like this one here, and buildings that also seem to have been abandoned, like this one here. So the same style of architecture, maybe the same owner, but they haven't got around to doing this one up just yet. And this one here also looks to be abandoned. Or maybe not also, because there's a car in the garage. Well, check out that thing up there. Check out the street lamp. Wow. Now we've got another stray dog over here. We'll see what the reaction's like between it and Mia. I'm not sure how this one's going to go down. Whether this dog is friendly or not, we'll see. Maybe she is, maybe she's not. We'll see. The owner's just down there calling it. No more. Been told that it doesn't bite. Muito grande, não é? And just check out the size of the dog compared to Mia. But it's playful. Sí, as cabras, não? Obrigado. Another little one there as well. Vamos. So sometimes the dogs are friendly, like in that instance, but unfortunately sometimes they are not. So a bit of a hit and miss scenario as far as dogs are concerned. Now we're coming up to the local cemetery. I'll turn the camera around so you can check this out, where the locals have been buried over the centuries, I imagine. I'm not sure of the origins of this town, how long it's been here for, but the cemetery on my right looks fairly old. Check it out. Portuguese cemetery in one of these small towns here. Now that there, the town by the name of Seia, is the biggest town in this area, and that's where people would go to do their shopping, to pick up their supplies, their groceries, anything that they need, because in this town there's nothing. Or at least I haven't seen any shops selling things here, but I just passed a woman that had a bag, maybe containing bread, so I'm not sure whether there's a shop here or whether people come in vans and sell things to the locals like fruit and veg and things like that, because I imagine that some people living here don't have a car, and getting around for them would be difficult. So there's no medical services here, there's no restaurant, there's only one bar coffee shop. That's the one that we saw a few minutes ago. So that's all that's going on in this town. But as I said, with some rural accommodation coming into the town, tourists like myself coming into the town, maybe in a few years some more life will spring up. I don't know. Let's continue. Check out the size of this property here on a fairly decent sized plot. Fruit trees going on here in the front part. Also the house there, about 40 meters, 50 meters away from the main road. Fairly decent sized build, that one there. And then here as well, we can see another similar type of setup with these orchards here. Got grapes growing, got other types of fruit going on in there. I think there's Chinese chestnuts, if I'm not mistaken, over there. This one here as well is a Chinese chestnut tree, I think. Don't quote me on that, so I'm not an expert when it comes to trees. But over there we can see that church tower, which stands tall above the rest of the town. Wow. And I've only seen 3 or 4 people so far. A couple of vehicles have gone through, but people walking, people going about their day to day, not a lot going on, not a lot. Figs here also, more grapes, probably making their own wine, I would say these people are. And other fruit tree varieties going on in there as well. Where's the house? I think that's it over there. So another big house. So it would have cost a pretty penny back in the day, I reckon, to build something that size. But impressive. That's all of the land that they've got going on there, and the views of the local area. So this is the way into the town. Down there will take you to that main square area that we saw, and this is the way out. So basically you have to do the loop around, then you come out here. Another abandoned building there, or a shell of a building. So obviously started building it but haven't finished it yet. Run out of money, I presume. Not sure. Let's go up here, see what's going on. So we've got this huge property here, the one that I showed you before. And there's about 4 or 5 cars parked in the parking lot there. Olive trees as well. So really self-sufficient as far as fruit goes, and olive oil and wine. What more do you want? Got a few chickens there. Maybe they've got some other types of animals there as well. But this is a fairly impressive property, as is the one that I have over here to my left. We'll check out this one here, because I don't know if there's anyone living in this building or not. But again, huge area here. Look at the size of the grounds. And the agapanthus, or lily of the Nile, that they've got set up here. And anyone who's dealt with this plant would know that it's an absolute nightmare to try to dig up. How many are there? Don't know, but a lot of agapanthus lining the wall here. And the wall in itself is an amazing piece of work. Look how thick it is. Wow, incredible. Now, here's this impressive property over here. Check out the gates. Check out what's going on there. As I said, there's only 2 cars in there, no 3. So I imagine that the family have come from wherever they live in Portugal or abroad to spend their summer holidays here. A quinta is what it's called, and I think that translates to some type of large property, a quinta, but don't quote me on that. Now, look at this building here also, with the amazing garden, all of those agapanthus that they've got lining the fence or the wall. I'm going to call that a fence because it's an amazing piece of work, but check this place out. Are there people living in here or not? Wow, check it out. Amazing. And the property continues here, through there. Wow. That is one impressive build. And the gardens also are being kept. So I imagine there is life in there. And the agapanthus continue throughout the garden, with the olive trees as well. Let's get a view from here. That is an impressive build. Wowee. And another one on the other side of the road. This one seems to be abandoned, or whether the family lives here temporarily, I don't know. But the gardens, you can see, have not been kept. So this one here, they've got green grass, the agapanthus in bloom. Turn around and we've got an abandoned garden. So again, the last family that lived here, no idea. Why they moved out, again, no idea. I imagine it's for opportunity or lack of opportunity. But we can see some type of picture on the wall there. I imagine there's a picture of the family. I don't know. But it obviously still remains in private hands. But nobody has been living here or taking care of the property for a long time, I would say. But back in the day, 40 years ago, 50 years ago maybe, it would have been a different story. Number 11's been painted on there, so they haven't even bothered about that. But there's more agapanthus going on there as well. There's a hose. And there's also fruit trees. Some oranges growing over there, some decent sized oranges too, I will say. And also some oranges here as well. There's one, or maybe that's a lemon, don't know. But again, abandoned. So this property, the upkeep would be enormous, I imagine, because it's such a huge house. And this is a part of Portugal that gets really cold in the winters as well. The mountain ranges literally 5-10 kilometers away, and it does snow in this area, around 600 meters of altitude. So on those cold storms that come through, I reckon we get snow in this area here. But this is the most impressive property that I've seen so far, this one here. How much would it cost to pick it up? No idea. There's no for sale sign on it. So they're not for sale. So someone's obviously paying the rates. Don't reckon that would be very expensive. That's about all I would say. And waiting for somebody in the family to take it over again. Who knows? And I'm going to be honest, these abandoned houses fascinate me. The stories behind these houses. Who were the people living here in the past? Were they wealthy families? Why did they move out? Was it because, as I said before, of a lack of opportunity? Did better opportunities come along? Did they move to the capital cities? Did they move to the bigger cities in this area here? I've got no idea, but fascinating stories I reckon we would get if we knew what was exactly going on with these properties. Now we're coming into the main hub of this village. We're going to start to see life. We can see that the properties here do have people living in them. For example, the grass there has been kept, and a lot of the houses in this part of the town are the ones that have people living in them. Now I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to see a bit of a mix. So for example, this one here, I don't think has anybody living in it. Abandoned. But as I said, I'll turn the camera around so you can check out the mix that we've got going on here. Another place for sale there, which has been done up in recent times. From the stonework we can tell that. What else we got going on down here? Other places that do have people living in them. Another place that's abandoned here for sale as well. That place has been done up, of course. New fence. So a real mix. As I said, people coming into this town looking for a quieter life have got the money to spend to do up one of these properties, whether it's to live in or maybe turn it into some type of business opportunity. Because the businesses that are here operating, these are rural accommodations, they're not hotels, they're sort of like houses, like these ones here that have 5 or 6 rooms, and they're being turned into individual suites, if you like, with showers, and you pay a fairly decent amount, I will say. They're not cheap. There's another one down there, I would say. Oh, that's some type of cheese shop maybe. We'll go and check that out. So the rural accommodation, as I said, not cheap and very popular in the winter months when people come to this part of Portugal to go skiing. Or people from Lisbon and places like that, or Porto, would head to the mountain ranges here on the outskirts of this town. We can see them over there that are covered in snow in those winter months, and practicing that sport of skiing and staying in accommodation like the one that we're staying at in this town. The people that have turned the old houses into a business, trying to bring back life to an otherwise dead town that probably would have been abandoned a while ago. I don't know. Check out this one here. This one is completely abandoned as well. That one is as well. So I don't know what the percentage of abandoned houses here would be, but fairly high. And I reckon this is a common sight in a lot of villages and small towns in this part of Portugal, where people have moved to more lucrative parts of the country, for example, the big cities, looking for opportunity, because there is not a lot of opportunity in these towns. But that's what adds to the charm, in my opinion. The charm of a village like this one, village life, if you like. And when you do one of these properties up, the result is amazing. Another one for sale here, Ben Desert, on the corner. The local festivities have taken place in recent times. I would say they've still got some type of decoration up there. But yeah, so what would that cost? Maybe we'll check it out, get an exact price. Don't know. It might be interesting to find out, so I'll see if I can do that when I get back to my accommodation, which is not far away. So this is it, the main hub again. I'll start to wrap this video up from this interesting town. And this is also a common sight. We've seen 2 or 3 of these, or maybe more, places that have started renovation works but aren't quite finished yet. Could be people that are living abroad, making their money, and slowly rebuilding whenever they can. But I don't know the last time work would have been done on this place here, and it looks as though people have been, I don't know whether they would have been squatting in here, but fairly dirty. So I'm going to wrap the video up from this interesting little village here in central Portugal, or at least I think it's interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hope you have enjoyed the video. Other questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this and other content that I put out. Até logo from Central Portugal.